A large part of the naturalization interview involves reviewing the Form N-400, Application for Naturalization, asking you questions about the information you provided on the application, and reviewing the documents you submitted to support your application. When the officer reviews Form N-400 with you, the officer is also testing your ability to speak and understand the English language, one of the requirements for naturalization. If you do not understand something, you should ask the officer to repeat the question or explain the question using other words. Here is one example of the beginning of a naturalization interview.
What is your name?
Marcos Torres.
And have you used any other names?
No.
Do you want to legally change your name?
No.
I need to see your lawful permanent resident card, all of your passports, and state-issued identification, please. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is your date of birth?
November 8, 1970.
And where were you born?
San Pedro Sula, Honduras.
Are you a citizen of Honduras?
Yes.
Are either of your parents United States citizens?
No.
Are you currently single, married, divorced, or widowed?
I am single.
And where are you currently living?
3555 North Shore Boulevard in Bloomington.
Where are you working?
I work at the county library.
When was your last trip outside the United States?
Let me see. About 4 months ago, I went back to Honduras to visit family for about 2 weeks.
Do you remember the day you returned to the United States?
The officer will continue to ask you questions from the Form N-400 to verify the information you've provided to determine your eligibility for naturalization. The officer may also ask you to provide additional information to the answers provided in the application. As a reminder, if you have a copy of your Form N-400, you may find it helpful to review it before your interview. For example, some of the questions that the officer might ask you may cover trips outside the United States, particularly any trips after the application was submitted, past marriages, memberships in any organizations, problems with the law, criminal history and/or jail time, military service in the United States, and support of the U.S. Constitution and allegiance to the United States. Your answers to these and the other questions determine your eligibility for naturalization. In most cases, after reviewing the Form N-400, the officer will give you the remaining portions of the naturalization test: the U.S. History and Civics test, the English Reading test, and the English Writing test. In some USCIS offices, the naturalization test may be given before your interview by an Immigration Services officer. The officer may be the same one that performs your naturalization interview, or it may be a different officer. The U.S. History and Civics test has 10 questions. The History and Civics questions will be asked orally and answered orally. You must get 6 out of the 10 questions correct to pass the History and Civics test. Here is an example of an officer giving the U.S. History and Civics test to an applicant.
Okay, are you ready for your civics test?
Yes.
Who was the first president?
George Washington.
Correct. How many U.S. senators are there?
100.
Good. Where is the Statue of Liberty?
Can you repeat that?
Where is the Statue of Liberty?
In New York.
Correct. What is the capital of the United States?
Washington, D.C.
What is the name of the national anthem?
Star Spangled Banner.
Good. Name one problem that led to the Civil War.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That's okay.
Remember that this is just a sample interview. The questions in this video are not necessarily the ones that you will be asked during the test. At the end of the questions, the immigration officer will inform you if you've passed the history and civics test. Please note that the officer will stop asking you questions once you've answered 6 questions correctly.
When do we celebrate Independence Day?
July 4th.
That's correct. Good, that's 6. You pass that portion.
Now, we will show a simulated situation of the English reading and writing tests being given to the applicant. Keep in mind that the items we're about to show you are not on the actual test. Remember, this is a simulated interview, and each experience may be different. The reading and writing tests each have 3 sentences. You only need to get 1 reading and 1 writing sentence correct to pass.
Now is the reading test. Please read line number 1 out loud for me.
Who was 3rd President of United States?
Good. Now, I need you to write line number 1 for me. Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd President of the United States. Thomas Jefferson was the 3rd President of the United States. Okay, let's try another one. On line number 2, please write, the Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia. The Liberty Bell is in Philadelphia. Good.
After the reading and writing tests, the immigration officer will tell the results of the naturalization tests and interview.
Congratulations. This form is for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm recommending your application for approval. If my recommendation is accepted, you will be sent a notice in the mail of when to come in for your oath ceremony.